Never thought a normal office job would turn into a nightmare. When I first started working at the company, everything seemed perfect. The pay was good, the environment was relaxed, and most of my coworkers were friendly. Except for one person. His name was Jake. At first, Jake seemed like a normal coworker. He smiled, made jokes, and even offered to help me during my first week. But after a while, I started noticing something strange about him. Jake had this habit of inserting himself into everyone's business. If someone made a small mistake, Jake would somehow always be the first to tell the manager. If someone arrived 5 minutes late, Jake would casually mention it in meetings. And if someone received praise from the boss, Jake would suddenly start pointing out their flaws. At first, I didn't think much about it. Every workplace has someone like that. But I didn't realize that soon I would become his next target. It started about 3 months after I joined the company. Our team was working on a very important project. The project was huge. If it went well, the company could gain a major client. My manager assigned me to lead part of the project. That's when things started to change. Jake had been working at the company for 2 years. So when I got the responsibility instead of him, he clearly didn't like it. I remember the moment his attitude shifted. During the meeting, our manager said, "Great work so far. Vikas will handle the next phase of the project." Everyone nodded, but Jake just sat there silently. His smile disappeared, and the way he looked at me, it wasn't friendly anymore. At first, the changes were subtle. Jake stopped helping me. Then he stopped talking to me completely. But that was just the beginning. Soon, weird things started happening. One morning I arrived at work and opened my email. There was a message from my manager. The subject line read, "Concern about your recent performance." My heart dropped. I opened the email quickly. Apparently, someone had reported that I had missed an important deadline the previous week. But that made no sense. I had completed that task 2 days early. I checked my project files again just to be sure. Everything was submitted on time. So how could someone claim I missed the deadline? Later that day, my manager called me into his office. He looked serious. He said, "I've been hearing some concerns about your work." That sentence alone made my stomach twist. I explained everything. I showed him the timestamps, the files, and the emails proving the work was done early. After checking everything, he nodded. "Okay, it seems like a misunderstanding." I left his office feeling relieved, but also confused. Who reported me? And why? A few days later, something even stranger happened. One of my coworkers approached me quietly during lunch. She looked nervous. She leaned closer and whispered, "Be careful around Jake." I froze. "What do you mean?" She glanced around the cafeteria before answering. "I overheard him talking to the manager yesterday." My chest tightened. "What was he saying?" She sighed. "He was telling the manager that you've been making mistakes and that you're not reliable." I felt my blood boil. Jake. Of course it was him. But the strange thing was, Jake had never spoken to me about any problems. Instead, he was secretly complaining about me to the manager. Still, I tried to stay calm. Maybe it was just a misunderstanding. Maybe Jake simply didn't like my work style. But things escalated quickly. A week later, the project files suddenly disappeared from the shared drive. When I opened the folder, everything was gone. Every document, every spreadsheet, every report. My heart started pounding. Without those files, it would look like I hadn't done any work at all. And the deadline was only 2 days away. I immediately contacted the IT department. They started checking the system logs. And that's when something shocking appeared. Someone had accessed the files late at night, around 11:47 p.m., and the username attached to the activity was mine. But that was impossible. At 11:47 p.m., I was at home watching TV. I hadn't even opened my laptop that night. Yet somehow, the system showed that I had deleted the files. The next morning, my manager called another meeting. His tone was much colder this time. He said the missing files were a serious issue, and according to the logs, I was responsible. The room went completely silent. I tried to explain that I hadn't touched the files, but the evidence looked terrible. The logs clearly showed my username. Jake sat across the table, quiet, watching, and for a brief moment, I saw something in his expression, a tiny smirk. That's when I realized something horrifying. This wasn't an accident. Someone had set me up, and I had a very strong feeling. I knew exactly who it was, but I didn't have any proof. The manager finally spoke again. "Until we figure this out, We'll have to review your role in the project. In simple words, I was about to lose everything. My reputation, my promotion, maybe even my job. Jake leaned back in his chair, pretending to look concerned. But I could tell. He was enjoying every second of it. What he didn't know was that this was only the beginning. Because the moment I realized someone was trying to destroy my career, I decided something. If Jake wanted to play games, then I was going to make sure he regretted it. And very soon, the truth would come out, in a way he would never expect. That night, I couldn't sleep. My mind kept replaying the meeting over and over again. The missing files, the system logs showing my username, and most importantly, Jake's smirk. The more I thought about it, the more convinced I became. Jake had set me up, but the problem was, I had no proof. And without proof, accusing him would only make things worse for me. So instead of confronting him, I decided to do something smarter. The next morning, I went straight to the IT department. I asked them if it was possible for someone else to access my account. At first, the IT guy said it was unlikely, but then he checked something deeper in the system. He looked confused. Then he said something interesting. Your account was logged in from a different computer that night. My heart skipped. What computer? He pulled up the details. The login came from a workstation inside the office. And the location was the desk area where Jake usually worked. I tried to stay calm, but inside, I was almost certain now. Jake had used my account. But how? Then I suddenly remembered something. A few weeks earlier, Jake had asked to use my computer for a quick minute. He said his system was updating and he needed to send a quick email. At the time, I didn't think anything of it. But now it made sense. He must have saved my login credentials, which meant he could access my account anytime. I explained this possibility to the IT department. They started checking more logs. And what they found was shocking. There had been multiple logins to my account late at night over the past few weeks. Each one coming from the same computer, Jake's workstation. At that moment, everything became clear. Jake wasn't just sabotaging me once. He had been planning this for weeks. But even with this information, we still needed solid proof. The IT guy suggested checking the office security cameras. Luckily, the building had cameras covering the entire workspace, especially during late-night hours. So we pulled up the footage from the night the files were deleted. 11:30 p.m. The office lights were mostly off. The workspace was empty. Then suddenly, someone walked in. My heart started pounding as the figure moved closer to the camera. And then I saw his face. Jake. He walked straight to his desk, turned on his computer, and started typing. The timestamp showed 11:46 p.m., exactly 1 minute before the files were deleted. At that moment, I knew the truth was finally about to come out. The IT department saved the footage and prepared a report. The next morning, the manager called another meeting. This time, the entire team was present. My manager started speaking. Yesterday, we believed Vikas was responsible for deleting the project files. The room was quiet. Jake sat calmly in his chair, still pretending to be innocent. But then the manager continued. However, new evidence has come to light. Jake's expression changed slightly. The IT specialist connected his laptop to the meeting screen. Then the security footage started playing. The moment Jake appeared on the screen, the entire room gasped. You could literally hear people whispering. Jake's face went completely pale. The video clearly showed him entering the office late at night, using his computer, and accessing the system. Then the IT specialist showed the login logs. They matched perfectly with the time Jake was sitting at his desk. The manager turned slowly toward him. Jake, would you like to explain this? For the first time since I had known him, Jake looked terrified. He started stuttering. I was just finishing some work. But the IT specialist interrupted. That would make sense, except the system shows he logged into Vikas's account. The room went silent again. Jake had no answer. He just sat there frozen. The manager's voice became cold. Did you access Vikas's account and delete the files? Jake tried to deny it at first, but the evidence was overwhelming. Finally, he broke. He admitted everything. He confessed that he was angry about the project leadership. He believed the position should have been his. So he tried to make it look like I was incompetent. His plan was simple. Delete the files using my account, make the project fail, and convince management that I wasn't reliable. But his plan completely backfired. Instead of getting me fired, He exposed himself. The manager immediately suspended him. By the end of the day, HR officially terminated his employment. But the story didn't end there. Because after the investigation, the company restored the project files from backup, and the project ended up being a huge success. The client signed a long-term contract with the company. A few weeks later, the manager called me into his office again. This time, he was smiling. He said, "After everything that happened, we want to recognize your professionalism." Then he slid a document across the desk. It was a promotion offer. Not only did I keep my job, I was promoted to project manager. And the best part? Jake's desk remained empty for months. Every time I walked past it, I remembered something important. Some people will try to destroy you out of jealousy. But if you stay patient and let the truth come out, karma usually works faster than revenge ever could. So yeah, that's the story of how my coworker tried to get me fired and ended up destroying his own career instead. Honestly, the whole experience taught me something important. Sometimes people will try to bring you down because of their own jealousy or insecurity. But if you stay calm and let the truth come out, things usually have a way of fixing themselves. And in my case, karma worked faster than I ever expected. But I'm curious about what you think. If you were in my situation, what would you have done? Would you have confronted Jake immediately or handled it the same way I did? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoy stories like this one, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more crazy Reddit stories. Trust me, the next story is even more insane. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.